What's going on, guys? It's your boy Az. We are back here. We're going to be talking today about the Dr. Voodoo event and basically how I would approach it if you don't have any power cores right now at this time. That's no problem at all. As indicated here, he's going to be coming here on March the 10th. So we're going to quickly take a look at the strategies that I'm going to be utilizing here to hopefully help you guys get the most out of this event. Let's jump into it. Alright, so assuming you guys don't have any power cores at this moment in time because you decided to use it all during the crazy Stark Armory event we had, and you were donating a ton of resources, totally fine. Lots of people did do that, so we got 0 power cores, and that's totally fine. So we're going to do a couple of assumptions here. We're going to assume that the Dr. Voodoo event is like your typical events in the past, which is typically around the 14-day marks. So that gives us about 14 days to build up some cores in that process. And now keep in mind here, as of yesterday or today, depending on where you guys are in the world, you would have got the 450 power cores from the calendar. I think it's a teamwork calendar. I believe it's some compensation, or maybe they're just giving us a little bit of extra resources due to the recent amount of glitches and bugs and exploits that have been taking place. So I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why they did that. So you would technically get the 450 cores, and hopefully you guys haven't spent that yet. If you have, that's not gonna be too much of an issue. But if you haven't and you're saving it, that's great. Save it for the event. So days before the event. So right now we got about 600. We got about 6 days in which you can basically. It's about a week away. It's next Thursday. That's on the 10th. That's when he's going to be coming into the game. So that gives us about 6 days before he starts, which gives us approximately 50 power cores plus the 50 from your objectives. So you'll get 50 from your objectives just from doing all your dailies, and then of course you'll get your 50 from doing your high roller milestone, spending the 1 million, and that shouldn't be an issue either. Now we got the web store in, and that's been giving us a bunch of resources, and I think there's 2 million gold in there as well, which is really nice, and of course some other bonuses going on with the events. But gold spending wise, it shouldn't be too much of an issue if you guys have been smart with your gold. If you haven't, that's fine. You've got about 6 days now. Just don't go too crazy, and just spend smartly and wisely. And then of course during the event, there's going to be about 14 days. Again, that's the assumption. Like previous events, we're assuming that it's going to be around that time, and that gives us also the 14 days that we can get the 50 power cores from your high rollers, and of course 50 from the objectives as well, and not making sure you do all your dailies and doing all the all those little blitz battles, arenas, RTAs, all that good stuff. And now keep in mind here, now that gives us pretty much between those, just doing your dailies and just doing your high roller milestone, that itself right there is already 2,000 power cores. So right then and there, that's pretty much a decent amount to even get the event going on throughout the course of the event. So that's really nice. And then of course if you're in the arena, and I actually used this as a quick screenshot. I'm assuming if you're in the in your the top 250 to 500, which is fairly easy to attain. If not, then of course the 500 and below is, you still get 60 cores in the process as well. But assuming you're in that arena bracket, you can get 75 cores, which comes out to pretty much about you get about 1575 over the course of the the 21 days, because we're including the 6-7 days before the event, and then of course the 14 days during the event. So hopefully that math makes sense to you guys. But essentially you're gonna get approximately 1500 or even more, 1500-ish minimum, and that's really good, because that gives us pretty close to about almost 3,500 cores, close to pretty much close to 4,000 cores, depending on where you place in the arena. I myself am usually in the top 50, so I get about 200 cores per day, which is a very decent amount. That itself would cover up a good chunk of the event. Other things that I'm not that I haven't really included already, but we've got the 35 cores from Save the World milestones. That's when you're doing your 1160 spending energy every couple days. So you're gonna get 35 cores, excuse me, and of course you're gonna get that for over the 21 days, which is every third day, which comes out to comes out to like about 700 cores, which is actually a pretty decent amount. It doesn't, obviously 35 cores for every 2 days doesn't sound like a lot, but when you multiply that and have that over the span of 2-3 weeks, it adds up. And then of course we also get the, as you guys can see here, we get 300 cores as well from the login calendar on March 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th, just during the March calendar event. So yeah, that brings us a nice grand total of about 4,025 power cores, which is really good, especially if you're right at, like I said, if you have 0 cores, and if you already spent that 450 that you got from the initial teamwork calendar, then of course that amount was going to be a little bit less, not too much less, but it'll be in the 3,500 mark still. And again, during the course of the Voodoo event, if we're spending our 4 times 50 refresh for the 14 days, that's only going to be about 2,800 cores over the span of the 2 weeks that the event's running for. So that's actually pretty decent, considering that's going to leave you guys with probably around 1,000, 1,200 or 1,300, depending on, like I said, if you're on the 6th or the 7th day, but fairly decent for the event. And then of course, if you're going to have a little bit of surplus as well, so that's going to give you a little extra left over, and you're gonna be able to spend that energy on, you can do the 100 refreshes for the Voodoo event, so that's not a bad choice. Or what I do is I actually spend the 50 cores on the hard campaign nodes. So the last 3 campaign nodes usually award about 700 points or 1/3 of an orb, and usually I do a couple refreshes on that, because that usually equivalates to 2 of the medium nodes, just by spending it on the 1 node. So it's almost like a 2-to-1 ratio. I think if you spend on the hard nodes, it gives you about 700 for the orbs, and then if you spend on the medium nodes in the later part, it's only about 350 or 400. So yeah, you're almost doubling up. And then of course we do have data mine indicating to us as well that Morbius is going to be en route as well, and it'll be interesting to see where he ties in during the course of the event. But it's obviously been one of those things with Scopely, where they usually have double events coinciding with each other. Icarus and Xerxes. We had, of course, previously we had Spider-Punk and Scarlet Spider as well, and I think at the same time we also had the Ghost Spider Blitz as well. So I mean, yeah, they like to put double events together. So if you don't want to spend the cores on the event, there's no problem with that. You can just basically save it and see what they do for Morbius as well, because of course we want to make sure. With the Scourge event indicating that it's going to be these Dark Hunters with Web Warriors, now we want to make sure we can at least take advantage of the fact that these guys are going to be needed. So we want to make sure we can at least maximize and make the most out of it. So hopefully this gives you guys a nice breakdown, and this is the strategy that I've used previously in the previous event modes, or character event campaigns, or whichever you want to call it. And yeah, it's this previous strategy that I've utilized in the past here that's allowed me to at least get usually a 4 or a 5 star on certain event character campaign modes. And yeah, Xerxes was obviously one of them. I was actually, I think I pumped everything into her. I was just spending cores left and right on the energy, and we did get her to a 5. And of course, most recently we just had. Oh, I guess we had Deathpool as well, but most recently we just had Spider-Punk, same thing, got him up to 5. Yeah, we got and utilizing him as well for the Scourge campaigns as well. The new Scourge mode that's supposed to be coming. Deathpool before Spider-Punk, and of course I've been lucky. We just had that massive big orb opening as well, so I got some shards on her, and of course we've also gotten those new celebration event orbs for the web store. So I was able to get her at least to 6 now. Just gotta spend the gold and upgrade her. But yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully you guys found this resourceful, and yes guys, start hoarding now, start saving those cores. Even right now, if you got 0 today, as long as you're being smart and you're being very patient, don't spend those cores on raid refreshes, on energy, on any energy refreshes. Just hold off for about a week or so, at least until the event is live, and then hopefully by then you can get some extra power cores as well. What I did not include in the calculation was the fact that you do get a couple power cores as well from RTAs and the strike passes, and I'm assuming people might have already spent that off. But yeah, when those usually start off, you get 100 or 50 power cores as well, which is I could have included that, but just something to consider, right? If you guys are doing those calculations, best way to do it is just to track it and keep an eye on it, and of course, don't spend it. And that's probably the best I can tell you guys. I sometimes I always want to spend it, but I tell myself, hey, yeah, we're getting these free characters, and if you want to maximize and get them up to at least a 4-star or a 5, this is the way to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.